Good morning. Welcome to another Spectrumx BBR Basic Business Realness. This series we're talking about the thought process of going into business and what it takes and each step that I go through. In the series we've done a few videos. We started off with the planning stage, which we're still in. We're going to go to the execution stage or the preparation stage, and then the third stage is launching, going into business. So far in the series we have covered a business plan and how important it is when you're thinking about going into a business that to take the time and really go into do a large business plan. The thought process is invaluable. The second topic that we talked about is business structure. What type of business structure do you want? What type of company do you want? Do you want a sole proprietor? Do you want a partnership? Do you want a corporation or a limited liability company? The limited liability is traditionally for professionals. So we'll just focus on the three. So sole proprietor, partnership, corporation. In thinking about those, obviously, you're going to think about a business name, and perhaps you have a name in mind. A lot of people now are opening up coaching companies and art companies that just simply use their given name, their God-given name as sole proprietor. It's the simplest way of registering a name. So it's John Smith, company, whatever. I do encourage you to register whatever name you do. By registering, you get and applying for a master business license. Those are very key points. By registering, you're securing your name. By getting a master business license, this allows you to go to the bank and open up a company bank account. And that's another topic I'll talk about later. So going back and choosing a name, this is a creative process that I encourage you to go through and share with your friends and ask everybody that you know, what do you think about this? What do you think? I like this, and they'll give you good feedback. Feedback is good. Exploring is good. Search down into your soul to begin to tell that story, because the name, your business name, is beginning to tell a story. So make it real to you. Make sure there's a descriptor, and I'll go into detail about that later. And have it have some meaning. ABCD company has no meaning, okay? We're at the micro business stage. We want to tell a story. It's all about your story. I'll give an example. The first company I took over was a jewelry store. I worked there. It was called E.A. Lamy & Company. Even though Ernest Lamy was a well-known goldsmith in the 40s, by the 90s, not a lot of people who moved into New Brunswick knew who he was. So every day after I took over, I would have people say, I didn't know there was a jeweler here. I didn't know what you were. By getting a lot of that feedback, I changed the name to The Jeweler's Studio. That drastically changed my business. I now had people coming into my company and saying, oh, we had a jeweler here. I've lived here my entire life and didn't know it. Simply because my sign said what I did. So I might give you a second example. In creating Spectrum Bookkeeping Inc., when I went back into bookkeeping, I wanted a descriptor. Make sure your name has a descriptor, whether it's in a tagline or in an actual physical name. This really helps identify what you do. For instance, another name for myself is Spectrum Bookkeeping Inc. Okay, the Inc tells it and say it's incorporated. B, the Spectrum bookkeeping. Bookkeeping tells you what I do. And Spectrum was me, coming from the jewelry industry, and not a lot of people know this, but the spectroscope is all-encompassing. Spectroscope is a tool in gemology that we use to identify stones, colored stones. And the spectrum is the rainbow. So if anybody knows me, it's all-inclusive. It's every color known to the rainbow, etc. I'm an inclusive person. I like collaboration. I wanted a feeling that I was part of my community, but not so much that people didn't know that I cared. So my feeling, and I'm not a marketing specialist, but I wanted it to show a bit about me. And Spectrum tells the story about who I am. And if you want more detail, you can always ask. So again, make sure it has a descriptor. Make sure you register and get a master business license. Have some fun and make it real and make it for you. We'll go into the details later of what you can do with a trade name, because that turns it into a trade name. I also want to touch base on the fact that, remember the word steward? I said you were a steward of your business. You are your business, but you're really creating something. So I'm encouraging you at this stage to think greater than yourself. So if you're thinking of just opening up a company under Philip Chisholm, coaching, whatever, that's great. But I'm going to really encourage you to think further down the line. Do you want to give your company to your children? Do you want to sell the company? Yes, I'm talking about exit strategy already. And I often ask my consultant clients, have you considered your exit strategy? Because knowing how you're going to leave your company or your plan and thinking forward is part of business. We do projections, we set goals, we just don't respond. We're taking control of our lives and we're making our lives better. So again, just to recoup, when you're thinking about a name, have fun, make it real, make it have a descriptor, and tell your story. If you have any questions and would like to learn more or hear more thoughts, feel free to like and leave a comment. Have a great day.